السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa ala. My dear respected brothers and sisters, welcome once again. And this session we are talking about a general reminder relating to our daily practice of Islam. And today I thought I would talk about an important topic which we all have that kind of, we all know about it, if you like, but it is very much something that it's important to address and it's important to mention. And we know that Ramadan is essentially the month of sabr, the month of patience. Patience, as they say in English, patience is a virtue. No doubt it is a virtue. And it's a virtue because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us repeatedly in the Quran, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam teaches us about the importance of patience in the hadith and indeed in the practice. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very generous. It's very generous. And when you look at the Quran, some of the commentators, they said, if you look at the different acts that Allah has placed within the Quran and has mentioned them to different things, the salah, the zakah, the hajj, there are different acts, qira'at al-Quran, praying in the different things, all have a set reward or a linked reward to them, except fasting and except sabr, which is patience. So as for fasting, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the hadith, kullu amal ibn Adam lah, every action of the son of Adam is for himself. Al-hasana, one hasana is multiplied by 10 to 700 many folds and 100 levels, multiples, except fasting. Illa as-sawm fa innahu li wa ana ajzi bih. Except fasting, it is for me and I will recompense it. I will pay it back. So that's for fasting, Psalm. And for sabr, the Prophet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّمَا يُوَفَّى الصَّابِرُونَ أَجْرَهُم بِغَيْرِ حِسَابٍ. That for those who are patient, those who practice patience, and he named them as-sabirun because that's almost like their character. They are sabirun, that's part of their inherent character, that they are patient. إِنَّمَا يُوَفَّى الصَّابِرُونَ أَجْرَهُم بِغَيْرِ حِسَابٍ. They will be given their reward without measure. And so you can see with sabr and psalm, it's unlimited. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give. And why is that? Because these acts are very hard. They are difficult. They need a struggle. They are not something that just can, just happens like that. There is a struggle, and usually that struggle is not apparent. It's something that is hidden from the eyes of others. Fasting, obviously, we know that when you're fasting, people can see you. They don't know whether you're fasting or not. And similarly, you might be patient on different things, and we don't know whether you are patient, what kind of difficulties you are going with. And that's why in another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, when he contrasts between sadaqah, charity, and salah, and sabr, the three sads, he said, as-salatu nur, was-sadaqatu burhan, was-sabru diya. He described the salah as nur, he described the sadaqah as burhan, and he described the sabr as diya. When you focus on those different wordings, you find that the sabr, which is called diya, the sabr, which is called diya, that is actually the same type of light that is described for the sun. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the salah as nur, that's the same type of light as the moon. Because the light of the sun is an intense burning light, which means that there is an intensity, there is a burning, there is an interaction. It's not something that's just, straightforward. And that's why sabr is like the light of the sun with the intensity, with the struggle, etc. Whereas salah, the light of the salah, they're both light, they're both illuminations, but they are different in that the salah is a tranquil light, much like the moon is a kind of tranquil light. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered us to be patient in the Quran. And He said, "Wasbiru." Wasbiru is a direct command, and we know from our the shuyukh of usul, the foundation of they say when something is a command, al-amru, al-aslu fil amr, al-wujub, that when you have a command, then the command usually is a obligation. So Allah is saying you must be patient. That is a command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But He then gave you the reward without measure, number one. Secondly, He also said to you something very great, which is that you will get something so special. You will have something very special. And I'll come back to that something very special in a moment, inshallah ta'ala, which is part of the reward that you will get. The other thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to you is that it's the best thing. It's the best thing because if you are patient, وَلَئِن صَبَرْتُمْ لَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لِلصَّابِرِينَ. It's best. The patience is the best kind of act for somebody to behave, somebody to act in accordance. When you are patient, you are doing the best thing that is possible. Another thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us is that there is sabr and there is musabara. There is patience and there is encouraging patience, the interaction of patience. And that's why in Surah Al-Asr, Allah doesn't want us just to have iman and to do the good deeds and to encourage others to do the good things in truth, but also you have to encourage people to be patient. So there has to be that tawasi, because no doubt there will be difficulties and there will be struggles in that regard as well. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made some great reward for people who are patient. Again, time is short to go things, but when you read the Quran, you will see that many times Allah says, the angels, as they greet the people as they enter Al-Jannah, they will say to them, this is in accordance because of your sabr. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, this is the reward that you get because of your sabr, because of your patience, and so on and so forth. So there is great reward waiting for those who have patience. And the highest reward, which I think is important, and this is something that we have in this life as well as the next, Allah says, Inna Allaha ma'as-sabirin. Allah is with those who have sabr. And this is in itself a great thing to have. Because you think about today, a lot of the people are in lockdown. Some people are actually by themselves. I know a few people are by themselves, and obviously it's not just a few, there's a lot of people. What's better than when you feel comforted that Allah is with you? This is a great feeling. It's no longer just a matter of, I'm just getting along with my life and struggling. No, Allah is with you. And that is an important realization that a person has to have. When you have patience, Allah is with you. And if Allah is with you, what else do you need? Because Allah, the Lord of the world, is the one who will provide you with all the necessary things. We talked about in a couple of reminders ago about happiness and the internal happiness and the true happiness being something internal. So it's also important that the patience is also internal. That meaning that you understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you whatever you ask for by being with you. And being with you is the best thing that you can have. I mean, all the other things, all the material things that you can have, they may be of benefit, they may not be of benefit. Think about those people who are around you. They can give you comfort, but then again, they might be, they might be a source of your frustration. A lot of jokes and things going around about how people are getting more angry, more frustrating, more family problems because of the lockdown. Because people are, the nature of friction. But when Allah is with you, that's not going to happen. It's a different equation altogether. It leaves me to say that patience is not just about being patient with times of affliction and hardship, because you also have to have patience at times of abundance. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you, you have to be patient as well. That in itself, there is a sabr as well. And in addition to that, there's a sabr against committing haram, but there's also a sabr in keeping up with the good. You know, how many times do you start something but then you cannot keep up with it? In terms of recitation of the Quran, in terms of dhikr, in terms of your ibadah, in terms of righteous deeds, etc. There's a sabr which you have to maintain that, and that in itself also needs a type of patience and perseverance, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward. And sometimes that is actually harder, and that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, وَاصْبِرْ نَفْسَكَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ رَبَّهُمْ بِالْغَدَاةِ وَالْعَشِيِّ, and give your nafs patience, encourage your nafs. This is directed to the Prophet ﷺ, although the message is to the whole ummah, that give yourself patience with those who are calling to their Lord in the early hours of the day and the late hours of the day. So that means that it's not just about being patient when it's hard, but also being patient when it's good, also being patient on the ibadah, as well as keeping patient from away from the ma'asi. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us amongst those who are patient and have the sabr and have the ability to practice this, because with that sabr comes the dhiya, comes the illumination. With that sabr you will have something which is the greatest thing that you can have, which is to be in the company of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.